We, the people of the United States, with our long history of freedom and democracy, are a nation built by revolutionaries. We were born out of rebellion against a king who was thousands of miles away and had no idea what was happening here. And that's why we celebrate Independence Day, because on July 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence. It's a very important document not only for Americans but also for people all over the world. The document is so popular, in fact, that there's a lot of fake ones out there. This one is a real, autographed copy of the original Declaration. It's the only one still in existence signed by every member of the Continental Congress. Now, it's at the National Archives where you can see it. I've told you about the importance of the Declaration before, but have you ever wondered what happened after they signed it? Well, today's video is all about the history of American independence and how it came to be. So, let's get started. Imagine this. You're an average colonial living in the 1700s. Your life is pretty good. You don't really think about politics. You just want to do your job, make some money, and live your life. But then, one day, your life changes. The British government starts telling you what you can and can't do. They pass all these laws like the Stamp Act and the Tea Act. They send soldiers to your town. They start taxing everything you buy. They even put a newspaper on trial for criticizing the government. Suddenly, your life isn't so good anymore. This was the situation for the American colonies in the 1760s and 1770s. The British government was trying to make more money from the colonies. For years, the colonies had enjoyed freedom from most taxes and regulations. They could trade freely, make their own laws, and govern themselves. But now, things were changing. The British government wanted more control and more money. Tensions grew between the colonies and Great Britain. The colonists felt like they were being treated unfairly. They had no voice in Parliament, and their protests were ignored. The British government was far away in England and didn't understand the needs and feelings of the colonists. The colonists felt isolated and desperate. They couldn't just ignore what was happening. They needed to take action. They formed groups to resist the British government. They boycotted British goods, organized protests, and wrote pamphlets to raise awareness. One group, the Sons of Liberty, played a key role. They organized protests and helped the colonies stay united. They believed in American ideals of freedom and independence. As tensions rose, the British government sent soldiers to America to keep order. This only made things worse. The soldiers were seen as invaders, and the colonists were determined to resist them. In 1773, the British government passed a law called the Intolerable Acts. These acts were meant to punish the colonies for their rebellion. They closed the port of Boston, shut down the Massachusetts government, and allowed British soldiers to be tried in other places. Now, the colonists were ready to fight. The situation was dangerous and uncertain. The future of America was at risk. It seemed like the British government was determined to crush the rebellion. The colonists knew they had to stand up for their rights and freedoms. But how did they do it? How did a small group of farmers, merchants, and thinkers defeat a powerful empire? Let's find out. In the beginning, the colonists weren't sure if they wanted to fight a war. Many of them had family and friends in Britain, and they didn't want to hurt anyone. But as the situation got worse, they realized that they had to take action. They started to plan and prepare for war. They formed militias to defend themselves, and they elected leaders to help them fight back. One of their biggest challenges was staying united. The 13 colonies were far apart, and it was hard to work together. But they knew that if they could stay united, they had a chance to win. They created a system to share news and supplies. They also worked together to plan their attacks. Another challenge was getting support from other countries. The colonists knew that they couldn't win the war without help. So they reached out to France and Spain. These countries were rivals of Britain, and they were willing to help the colonists in exchange for something. The French were especially important. They provided ships, weapons, and money. They also sent troops to help fight the British. The war was long and difficult, but the colonists were determined to win. They fought bravely, and they never gave up. Eventually, their hard work paid off. In 1783, Britain recognized the United States as a free and independent country. The war was over, and the dream of independence was a reality. It wasn't easy to build a new country. There were many challenges ahead, but the dream of a free and independent America was worth it. So, what makes the Declaration of Independence so special? First, it was a bold statement. It said that all people are equal and have certain rights. It also said that the government gets its power from the people. These ideas were revolutionary and they changed the world. The Declaration inspired other countries to fight for freedom. It became a model for other declarations of independence. Second, it was a powerful argument. The Declaration listed all the ways that King George had mistreated the colonies. It said that the king had ignored their protests and used force to control them. It also said that the king had broken the law by passing unfair laws and taxing the colonies without their consent. Third, it was a call to action. The Declaration urged the people of the colonies to take action against the king. It said that the colonies had the right to overthrow the king and set up their own government. It called for the people to unite and fight for their freedom. And finally, it was a statement of unity. The Declaration showed that the colonies were united in their desire for freedom. It said that the people of the colonies were one nation, one people. It called for them to work together to achieve their goal. The Declaration of Independence is a very important document for Americans. It's a reminder of the values and principles that the country was built on. It also reminds us of the courage and determination of the people who fought for freedom. On this Independence Day, we should remember the words of the Declaration and strive to make America a place where all people are free and equal. The signing of the Declaration of Independence was a defining moment in American history. It was the official break from British rule and the birth of a new nation. For the people of the time, it must have been an incredibly daunting task to sign such an important document. They knew that they were risking their lives and their fortunes by doing so. But they also knew that they were fighting for a greater cause, the cause of freedom. After signing the Declaration, the members of the Continental Congress faced a long and uncertain struggle to win independence for the colonies. They knew that they would be facing opposition from the most powerful empire in the world. But they were undeterred. They were willing to make any sacrifices necessary to win the fight for freedom. Today, we can look back on the signing of the Declaration of Independence and celebrate the courage and determination of those who fought for our freedom. They were ordinary people who did extraordinary things. They risked everything to create a new nation based on the principles of liberty and democracy. But the fight for independence was not just about winning a war. It was also about winning the hearts and minds of the people. The colonists had to convince not only the British government, but also the people of the colonies that independence was the right course of action. They had to convince them that the principles of liberty and democracy were worth fighting for. The colonists were successful in their fight for independence. And today, we can enjoy the fruits of their labor. We can live in a free and democratic nation where all people are equal. But we should never forget the sacrifices that were made to create this nation. The blood, sweat, and tears of the colonists who fought for our freedom should not be forgotten. Every year on Independence Day, we should take a moment to remember the courage and determination of those who fought for our freedom. We should also remember that freedom is not free. It requires constant vigilance and hard work, but it is worth it. The freedom that we enjoy today is the result of the sacrifices of those who came before us. It is our duty to preserve it for future generations. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history of American independence. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more educational videos. And I'll see you next time.